Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's class is on pragmatism, philosophy of education, and in the previous classes we have discussed three Western philosophies in education, which are idealism, realism, naturalism. And there is also a video which gives you a basic introduction to the subject, philosophy of education, which is very essential and gives simple explanation for people who are new to this paper. So please go through the videos and also like and subscribe, as we'll be uploading more videos on both Western and Indian philosophies. So coming back to today's class, there is on pragmatism, as you can see from the title. And in this video, we will cover all the important points from exam point of view, be it NET exams, Masters in Education. So in this video, we will learn the meaning of pragmatism, exponents, fundamental principles, aims of education, curriculum, methods of teaching, role of teacher and students, discipline, and school. So pragmatism is an American movement in philosophy derived from the Greek word pragma, which means action, from which words like practice and practical have been derived. One thing you have to keep in mind when it comes to pragmatism is that it is a practical philosophy which is focused on practice, experiment, and change. Next, Charles Sanders Peirce is the principal exponent of this philosophy. He is also known as the father of pragmatism. This philosophy is a practical and utilitarian philosophy. By utilitarian, we mean anything which is useful at a given time is true to this philosophy, and it rejects anything which are not useful. So this philosophy believes in change. They say that accept or not, change will occur. People also change. Their experiences, thoughts, and ideas do change. To this philosophy, nothing is permanent and forever. Because if you see the universe is dynamic, which keeps on moving and evolving. And when you evolve, you change. And when you change, nothing can be permanent. Hence, truth also cannot last forever. There is nothing called as eternal truth. It only depends on situation. The emphasis on pragmatism is on actions and not on thoughts. This philosophy is also called instrumentalism. So I'll tell you why it is called instrumentalism. It is basically because this philosophy views anything such as science, laws, education mainly as an instrument and tool for some practical purpose rather than in more ideal terms. It is also called experimentalism because it believes in experiencing and experimenting by self before accepting anything. It is also called functionalism because to the pragmatist, anything must be determined by its function. It must therefore serve a function. Next, exponents. Exponent basically means people who supports an idea. So these are the people who supports pragmatism. Charles Peirce, William James, John Dewey. These three are very important. You better note down these names. There are other philosophers which also supports pragmatism, like John Locke, George Herbert, Heraclitus, Kilpatrick. However, these three names which are marked in green are very important to remember. Now, let's move on to metaphysics. Metaphysics means reality, and reality according to this philosophy are only those things which can be experienced or observed. So reality basically depends on experience, and experiences can be many. To the pragmatist, reality keeps on changing, and that we can learn best through applying our experiences through problems as they arise. They believe that reality is like ever-flowing river. You cannot step twice into the same river because it keeps on moving and changing. Man treats the reality according to his own purpose and interest. So there cannot be only one reality. Hence, ultimate reality is not one, but many. Next, epistemology, which means knowledge, and knowledge according to this philosophy is empirical and rational. Empirical means anything which are based on facts, observation, and experiment. So, according to pragmatism, knowledge is not theoretical, an ideology or thought, but is something which is based on observations and experiment. Next, it says that knowledge is rational. So, knowledge means having a reason or understanding. And as I have told you that this philosophy is based on change, and since nothing is permanent, so even knowledge and truth keeps on changing according to time and situations. Next, knowledge is instrumental and hence tentative and provisional. So this again means that knowledge is not fixed or certain, but is useful only for the time being or is temporary. To pragmatists, knowledge is active and experimental, and knowledge is gained through experiences and not intuition. Next, axiology. Axiology in philosophy means values, and pragmatism do not believe in any fixed and external values, and it denies the idea of ultimate good. Ethical problems should not be solved by referring to priori principles. I'll give you an example. You shall not kill statement is not an absolute principle, because in life one may have to kill in order to defend himself or herself. Next, values are dynamic and ever-changing. According to Rawls, the general educational aim of pragmatism is creation of new values. So to this philosophy, values keep on changing and new values are created through own activities, through experience. Now, let's move on to the fundamental principles of this philosophy. First point, practical utility is the watchword of pragmatism. This is very important, often comes in multiple choice question where it will be asked the watchword of pragmatism, and there will be options provided. Like if you remember when we discussed naturalism philosophy, their watchword is back to nature. So remember all this. In pragmatism, the watchword is practical utility. Next, a pragmatist lives in a world of facts and not in a world of ideas or ideals. There is no absolute and unchanging truth, but rather, truth is what walks. Therefore, truth always changes according to time, place, and situation. It emphasizes on change. The aims and values of life change in different times and climes. This philosophy gives importance to present and future. It is a pluralistic philosophy. It says that there are many worlds as human beings. The ultimate reality is not one, but many. And also this philosophy is based on individual differences. Means it understands individual differences, and hence when it comes to education, there cannot be the same lesson, instruction or method. This we'll discuss later in the upcoming slide. Now, let's proceed towards the aims of education. In this philosophy, there is no priori scheme of aims of education. The aims of education are flexible according to the changing needs of the society. So it aims to develop social skills. For example, love, sympathy, cooperation, patience, tolerance, and so on, so that one is able to adapt himself to his environment. Next, to lead the student towards growth which forms the basis for further growth. To develop dynamic, flexible, and adaptable mind which is always resourceful and is able to create new values for an unknown future. Next, curriculum. This philosophy advocates a flexible curriculum which involves activities. The curriculum should be such which will be useful. Anything which will not be useful or does not serve any utility are not included in the curriculum. The curriculum should also be according to the interest of children. It should be based on experience. An integrated curriculum, which basically means that learning experiences that are designed to be mutually reinforcing, wherein the child's ability to transfer learning from one situation to other is developed. And this will help the developing child and the changing society more and more as the need, demand, and situation require. Next, only those subjects which have utility to the students should be included in the curriculum. Hence, subjects such as language, hygiene, history, geography, physics, mathematics, science, home science, agriculture, sociology, psychology, reading, writing, counting, and craft work are included in the curriculum. Since it emphasizes only on the utilitarian aspects, it rejects subjects such as poetry and art. Now, let's move on to the methods of teaching. In pragmatism, the methods of teaching vary, which means differ, to meet each individual learning style. It focused on activities as the basis of teaching and learning, so that they get experience. So they advocated learning by doing, discussion, questioning and inquiry, problem-solving method, where the teacher places a problem in front of the students and the students are required to find out solution by themselves. Heuristic method. Heuristic method is something where the student is independent discoverer. No guidance is provided by the teacher in the method. He first set a problem for the students and stands aside, while the students discover the answer by themselves. Next, inductive method. Inductive basically means specific to general. So in this method, the teacher first teaches the small concepts or say the rules and then move from simple to general. For example, if the teacher is teaching geography, he will first talk about India and then move to world, which means specific to general. Last one, project method. It is basically a method taken in a social environment where the student explore by himself and learn according to his own interest, and where the emphasis is on experience learning rather than rote memorization. Now, let's move on to the role of teachers. The role of a pragmatic teacher is to understand individual differences and teach according to the aptitudes and abilities of the individual. To teach the students things that are practical for life and encourage them to grow into better people. To provide opportunities for the natural development of the innate qualities of children. To enable the students to develop values for himself. To create a real-life situation in which problem may arise and the teacher guides the students how to tackle problem by himself. The teacher's role is to encourage the students to discover and experiment. The teacher is not a dictator but only a leader of group activities. A pragmatic teacher is like a friend, philosopher, and guide, so that he can know the interest and capabilities of children. His role is to capture the students' interest and build on the natural motivation that exists. Now coming to the role of students. So this philosophy is child-centered. The child is the central figure. Hence he have more important place than the teacher or say textbooks. He is an active participant. His role is to experiment, to learn by doing, to learn through personal experiences and to interact with his environment, so that he learn and gain knowledge by himself. Next is discipline. This philosophy gives freedom to children. It do not believe in any external restraint and discipline enforced by superior authority. It do not believe in punishment, So discipline should be based on child's activities and interest. They believe in self-discipline and social discipline. By social discipline, we mean the discipline acquired by students by taking part in school social activities. Now coming to the last one, there is school. A pragmatic school is a miniature society. I'll explain this to you. John Dewey, if you remember, have said once that the school is a miniature society, is a mini society where the students learn to live with others, share their joy and happiness, their sorrows, love, sympathy, friendship, etc., which is very necessary in a society. So that is why school represents a miniature society, or say the mini society. It is a place where the students learn through practice, trial and error, the art and discipline necessary for the social and economic order. It opposes traditional school, where it had to be the formal classroom setting, teacher coming and giving lectures. This philosophy makes school into workshops and laboratories. This means that a pragmatic school do not have to be a formal classroom with benches, tables and teachers. Rather, it can be any social environment which inspires the children for experimentation. So that was all on pragmatism. I hope you find the video useful, and if you do so, please like, leave a comment below, subscribe and share.